Dwayne Wade by Emmanuel Lopez. My historical figure is on Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade was born on January 17, 1982 in Chicago, Illinois. Wade spent the majority of his 16-year career playing for the Miami Heat in the NBA. He guided the Heat winning back-to-back championships in 2012 and 2013. Wade played for 3 teams in his career in the NBA. Dwayne Wade is Miami's all-time leader in points, games, assists, steals, shots made, and shots taken. Dwayne Wade started a non-profit organization called Wade's World Foundation. He helps the community by promoting education, health, and social skills for unserved and unprivileged children. In conclusion, these details make Tyrone Wade Jr. a living legend.
Bass Reeves by Maya Mitchell. My historical figure is Bass Reeves. Bass Reeves was a law enforcer in the 1800s who apprehended more than 3,000 criminals. Bass was married twice and had 11 children. Reeves was assigned as the Deputy U.S. Marshal for the Western District of Arkansas. He also was the first black deputy west of the Mississippi River. Reeves worked for 32 years as a federal peace officer in the Indian Territory. Bass Reeves died of Bright's disease on January 12, 1910 in Muskogee, Oklahoma. He was 71 years old. In conclusion, Bass Reeves has done many a good deed for the past.
Michelle Obama by Harmony Jefferson. Michelle Obama was born on January 17, 1964 in Chicago, Illinois. She was the first African-American former First Lady of the United States of America from 2009 through 2017. She is married to the first African-American president, which is the 44th President, Barack Obama. A change that she brought about was making school lunches healthier. Michelle Obama was a big role model for girls. She gave speeches that encouraged girls to believe in themselves. Michelle won the Grammy Award for the Best Spoken Word Album in 2020. Michelle Obama has done a lot for us.
Serena Williams was born September 26, 1981 in Saginaw, Michigan. In 2002, she won her first French Open single champion and 5th U.S. Open single title. Beginning in the late 1990s, Serena became one of the world's most talented and exciting tennis players. At the 2000 Olympic Games in Sydney, Australia, Serena and Vanessa won gold medals in the doubles event. Serena defended her titles at the Australian Open and Wimbledon in 2010. Her skills on the court happen to be additional. The reason of years of training, national ability, and a powerful dimension to win. Williams has gained additional attention as an African American athlete in a sport generally dominated by white players.
Mae Jemison by David Santos. March 1956, Mae Carol Jemison was born October 17th. Mae Jemison was the first African American to be an astronaut. Mae Jemison is an American engineer, physician, and former NASA astronaut. Jemison was a doctor for the Peace Corps in Sierra Leone from 1983 until 1980. Mae Jemison received an Elizabeth Blackwell Medal in 1977. Mae Jemison, with her commitment to science, serves as a great role model for future scientists.
Barbara Jordan by Brooklyn Perry. Barbara Jordan was born at Houston, Texas on February 21, 1936. She went to Texas Southern University after graduating. She taught at Texas Southern University School of Law. Barbara Jordan was a lawyer, teacher, author, and politician. Barbara Jordan was elected to the United States House of Representatives as the first woman elected to represent Texas in 1972. As a member of the House Justice Committee, she presented the opening speech during President Nixon's impeachment hearing. She worked very hard to ensure equality for minorities and poor people in immigration. Barbara Jordan was a trailblazer.
Thurgood Marshall was born in Baltimore, Maryland on July 2, 1908. He was the grandson of a slave. Thurgood Marshall was the first black justice on the Supreme Court of the United States. In 1954, he wins Brown versus Board of Education of Topeka landmarks cases that demolished legal basis of segregation in America. In 1967, Thurgood Marshall became the first African American elected to the U.S. Supreme Court. In 1993, he died due to heart failure in Baltimore, Maryland at age 84, and leaves behind lasting legacy of civil rights.
Matthew Henson was born August 8, 1866 in Charles County, Maryland. Matthew Henson is the son of two freeborn black sharecroppers. Henson lost his mother at a very early age. Henson and the rest of their team made history becoming the first people to reach the North Pole, or at least they claim to have. Henson became a valet for an explorer and officer in the U.S. Navy Corps of Civil Engineers named Robert Edwin Peary in 1887. Henson and Peary made many expeditions to Greenland. On one of their expeditions, they found 3 large meteorites, which they sold to the American Museum of Natural History, and using the proceeds to help fund their future expeditions. When he was 70 years old, Henson finally received the acknowledgement he deserved. The highly regarded Explorers Club in New York accepted him as an honorary member.
Nelson Mandela was born on July 18, 1918 in the village of Miserola in the Mansa, part of Africa's Cap Province. He won the Nobel Prize for Peace in 1993 for having led the transition for a paradigm to a multi-racial democracy. Mandela was the first black president of South Africa, serving from 1994 to 1999. He served a good portion of his life in prison for protests, but he became a symbol for his people.
Arthur Ashe by De'Ara Bishop. Arthur Ashe was born July 10, 1943 in Richmond, Virginia, and died on February 6, 1993 in New York City. He was the first African American to win the men's single title at Wimbledon in the U.S. Open. He was also the first African American man to be ranked number 1 in the world and the first to earn induction into the Tennis Hall of Fame. Always an activist, when Ashe learned that he contracted AIDS via a blood transfusion, he turned his efforts into raising awareness about the disease. In addition to his pioneering tennis career, Ashe is remembered as an inspirational figure. He once said, "It is not the urge to surpass all others at whatever cost, but the urge to serve others at whatever cost."
Colin Luther Powell was born on April 5, 1937 in Harlem, New York. He was the son of Jamaican Luther and Madu Powell. While attending City College of New York, while studying geology, he found his calling in the Reserve Officers Training Corps, ROTC. In 1958, Powell graduated and was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the U.S. Army. President George H.W. Bush appointed General Powell as chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Powell was the first African American officer to receive that distinction. He retired in 1993 and 1994. He joined the Senator Sam Nunn and formed President Carter on the last peacekeeping expedition to Haiti, which results in the end of military rule and a peaceful return of elected governor into that. Colin Powell's adult life has been in the service of his country.
George Morgan was born on March 4th in 1877 in Pierce, Kentucky. With
Only in elementary school education, he went on to patent several inventions, including improved sewing machines and traffic signals and hair straightening products. Just before his death, Morgan was honored by the U.S. government for his traffic signal.
Booker T. Washington by Osiris Alexander. Booker T. Washington was born April 5, 1856, Hillsborough, Virginia. He was born into slavery. He became a teacher after the Civil War. He was the first president of the Tuskegee Institute, a school for African Americans. He was the first African American to visit the White House. He was greeted with a storm of protest. Booker T. Washington received honorary degrees from Harvard University in 1896 and Dartmouth College 1901.